Hey everybody, Eric Nathy with MountModernLife.com. Today we wanted to give you a quick update on what we've been experiencing since we've been in the RV for the last 2 weeks. And to start it off, we'll just start right at the beginning. So it was about 2 weeks ago where we took off at about 4 a.m. in the morning, and we were heading up north towards Ohio to visit some of Katie's family, and we were going to be planning on staying there for a few days, which we did, and it was great. We actually stayed at a state park up there. Now, the state park only had an electricity hookup. It didn't have water or sewer. So on the way in, we actually stopped by the potable water station and filled up our RV fill tank. Now, it was the first time we were going to be using the fill tank versus the city water hookup. So we were a little iffy about it, but we went ahead and filled up the tank and then headed to our site. Once we got to our site, we went ahead and leveled everything out, pulled the slides out, and then Katie and the cats joined me in the RV. And that's where we learned our first tip. Now, our first tip is that when you're putting items in your RV refrigerator, if they don't quite fit right, you probably want to open the door with caution once you get to your destination. Now, I didn't follow this tip, and when I opened the door, our water filter pitcher actually flew out at me, hit the ground, broke the handle off, and the filter went flying and water splattered all over the place. We got that cleaned up. We were actually able to still give the cats some of the water from out of the pitcher. But the funny, crazy part about it is that morning at about 3:30, when we were still loading up the RV, we had our secondary pitcher in our hand. We were going to bring it with us, and we're like, you know what, we're downsizing. We don't need this second pitcher. Let's put it back. So we left it there, and then now we broke our pitcher. But we did receive our new one in the mail a couple days ago. Now we're just waiting on a filter, and we'll be all set up again. So after that, we went ahead and said, okay, laughed it off. Now let's go ahead and let's de-winterize the RV, and let's see how the water is going to work from the fill tank. So we went ahead and got started with that, and I'll show you a quick video on how that started. So that was me and Katie when we first turned on the water to the shower. And I don't know if you could hear in the video, but we could actually hear the water running, but it sounded like it was coming through the wall. So if you check this picture right here, it's me actually looking at the plugins for the hot and cold water. So what had happened is back in November, when we were getting ready to take the ceiling panel down and fix our water leak, we had the thought that we were going to take the shower out to remove some of the walls. And back then, I forgot to actually reconnect the hot and cold water inlets into the shower. So when I turned on the water pump and had the water running through the RV the first time, the water actually drained straight down into Katie's Christmas bin, which is a disaster, but we got it all hooked up and we realized it right away. So there wasn't it wasn't any damage to the coach, but her Christmas decorations definitely need to be dried out. So we went ahead and we took that with a smile, no big deal. And then we decided to go ahead and start the de-winterizing process and getting the faucets and lines flushed out of all the RV antifreeze. Well, as we started, we noticed that our water was kind of spitty, both in the sink and in the bathroom faucet. It was running fairly well for the toilet and the shower, but in the two faucets, it was spitty. So I was checking all the connections from replacing the faucets. Everything was going good, and I'll show you a quick video here. Maybe that's because that's going through the hot water heater, and that was closed off. So I had to get those air pressures out of there. So what had happened was that none of the connections that I'd made from replacing the faucets were leaking. So I stuck my head up to look at the faucet and see if the water was still running. And right when I did, the faucet actually spit out a ton of water right into my ear. But come to find out, it was actually mostly RV antifreeze that was all over my face. Luckily, it's non-toxic. But anyway, all of this that I just talked about happened in probably the first 10 minutes of our first parking adventure in our RV. So needless to say, we learned quite a bit right away from the beginning. And we also learned that being on the road definitely did provide us with that relaxation that we needed, because neither one of us got upset. We just took it in stride and kept pushing. So we stayed there at that park for I think about 3 days visiting Katie's family, and then it was just about time to head up to Wisconsin. So we pulled in the slides, and then we realized we could not find our cats anywhere. So we looked around, just couldn't find them. So Katie got out the bag of treats and started shaking them, and sure enough, Kobe comes cruising out from inside the dashboard. I was like, how did they even get up there? Katie had looked and done research in the past and found that cats do get up there, but I didn't think our cats would fit up there. Well, anyway, so we still couldn't find Ducky, so we ended up digging through the dashboard. I had to remove the desk, slide out desk that's in front of the passenger seat, stick my arm out back in there, and finally touch him. I couldn't see him, and then finally he comes running out. You may have seen this video on Facebook. There he is. He's out. All right, so you saw Ducky scurrying away there. And now that we had both the cats out of the dashboard, we transferred them back over to the vehicle that Katie was going to be following behind with, and we hit the road to get up here to Wisconsin. It was about a 10-hour drive, and then we got up here. And the first night we actually ran our generator because it turned out that the power wasn't quite set up for the RV. So big thank you to my uncle who spent some time helping us get everything retrofitted so that we could run the RV off of his power supply. But we were able to get the water hooked up right away, so we had water, and now currently we have power, water, and hot water. Now, for a little bit there, we couldn't get the hot water, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me what the issue was. But luckily, another family member came to the rescue who had dealt with hot water heaters in RVs before. And we actually just had to bend a little piece that would make sure that the pilot light would actually hit where the gas was coming out. And once we did that, everything was hooked up great. And since then, the hot water, the water, and the power have all been working great. So now we're just going to keep on going. We're going to try to figure out, you know, what it's like to live in the RV, which we've learned a great deal about so far, and we're really enjoying it. But we're going to keep going with this. As always, thank you much for watching the video. If you have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to leave them below or visit mountainmodernlife.com, and we'll see you guys soon.